Hi everyone, welcome. This is Katya. I am so glad you stopped by to pay a visit. Today I want to show you a really simple 2-for-1 diamond fun fold card. So we are going to make them really quickly, and the measurements and all of the instructions are included in the description box below. So here is my 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, the 110 pound. And I'm going to bring my scoreboard in here, but before I do that, I want to show you a diagram and also the instructions to make this 2-for-1 diamond fold card. Even if you don't want to make two at the same time, you can certainly do all the scoring and the cutting for the second one, and at least you'll have it ready to go if you follow all these instructions. And I will have these linked for you so you can download this and save it. But here's what we're looking at. So this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, and I did this diagram for you so that you can see where to fold and score and all that kind of good stuff and where to cut. So if you were going to do it this way, this is how it's going to look. We're going to do all of our scoring lines first, and then we're going to do a cut down the middle, and we're going to cut these triangle type pieces off. So let's do that right now. So I'm notorious for scoring my paper with a bone folder and really pressing too hard and ruining the paper. So I like using a stylus because it has a round tip on it, and I know that when I push it, it's only going to push and press against the edges of the line that I am scoring at. So the first line here says to score at 2 1/8, and then the second score is 5 1/2. So let's do that now. So here is 2, and here's 2 1/4. So right between that is 2 1/8. And again, do all your scoring before you cut. And then we're going to do 5 1/2. So see, I'm pushing pretty hard on this cardstock, and it's totally fine. And now I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and we're going to cut down the middle and cut off the edges here. Okay, so before we do that, I wanted to share something with you. So right now, what we could do is just make a mark with a pencil, but then we have to erase that. So what you could do if you wanted is go ahead and make your little mark at 2 1/8. So these are numbers to easily remember. 2 1/8 is right here. And then if we flip the paper over, that just makes it easy. And we do 2 1/8 right here. Whoops, better move my paper up. 2 1/8 right here. I know that's where I need to cut off those pieces, right? So I know this may sound confusing, but if you stick with me, I'll show you how this works in the end. Before I do this next step, I wanted to tell you something. I have been looking for a new paper trimmer for quite a while, and I really love the one that people demonstrate by Stampin' Up! And I wanted to get that one, but I really didn't like the color of that particular one, so I decided against it. And then I saw this Spellbinders one, and I realized that this marker right here is the same on quite a few other paper trimmers that are out there. So this is the telltale sign, and I tried to look everywhere to see if I could find a manufacturer for this whole thing, but I think they're designed and manufactured by the same manufacturer, so to speak. And so I wound up getting the Spellbinders one, and I actually really love it. And I'm kind of thinking that the score and the cut blades are easily accessible by if you use a different paper trimmer. So now referring back to this, if you notice right here at the very top is where we're going to do our little cutoff lines to make this all scored up. And I think I have the measurements here off on this one here. So we're not going to go by that. We're going to actually just go by this first one here. But first I'm going to cut this right down the middle because that's what I need. And I already know that if I'm going to cut this at 4 1/4, I made myself a little, put a piece of removable tape here so that I could know exactly where 4 1/4 is, especially when you're mass producing. It's easy to put a piece of tape here so that you can line this up here, and then you don't even have to think because your lines will be exactly in the same place each time. So I'm going to cut this all the way at 4 1/4, and now I have two pieces. And what I wanted to do was cut directly from this middle score line here that I made. And I'm going to line that score line. Actually, let me just put a pencil mark here so you can see it better, because I can barely see it. So here's my middle point here. So I want to line up this pencil mark right here with the scored edge of this right here, okay? And then once I have that laid in place, I can go ahead and make my cut, right? And then if you're unsure, you can always take this and trace it and then cut along that line. But I'm going to just wing it, and I'm going to put my score line up against this line, and I'm going to trim once I have it aligned. So here's your point here, right? And we're going to do the same thing with the other one. Okay, so now I have trimmed off the other edge on this one, and remember, they're both scored. I'm going to leave them unscored for just a little bit, but I'll show you how this comes together. And if you can see by the diagram on this 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, I've followed the score lines and I've cut off these triangles here, and I'll have that available for you in the download section in the description of my video. Okay, so for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to share with you one card with the cutting that you'll need to make. So I went through my stash of pattern paper, and I thought this would pair really nicely with this particular color on my card base. So I have 2 of these, and they are cut to 3 1/8 by 4 inches, okay? And then you're going to make another one at the exact same size, so 3 1/8 by 4, and this is where we're going to put our sentiment, okay? And then you'll need one piece that is 2 by 4 inches. And I'll show you where that one goes. Then we have what's going to become our diamond. So right now it's in a square pattern, but this will be our diamond. So you need one piece that is cut by 3 by 3 inches. And the second one you're going to need is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And that will just basically nest right over here on this. And this is where we can put all of our embellishments, and you can put die cuts on there, that kind of thing. So we're going to do that in the next step. But first I wanted to show you with the scoring. So remember, I have this scored at 5.5. And do you see how that fold right there? This is going to be our diamond fold, and I'm going to fold this back right here. And I'm going to use a bone folder to increase that score line and really burnish it so that it folds nicely. And I'm going to do that really quickly here as well. So now this is going to be our card mechanism, and we are going to put these 2 together, and this will sit right here in a diamond pattern. And what's nice about this is that this 3 by 3 piece will match up perfectly with this piece right here. So let's assemble this. Okay, so I had a change of heart, and I thought, oh, on this white piece, since I'm going to be putting a floral embellishment on here, I thought, why don't I just do, you know, like some piercing, like a piercing die, because I thought I wanted to give it a little bit more interest. And I really wanted to put like a gold edge on this with embossing powder and then melt it, but I thought, well, if it doesn't come out perfect, I'll be upset. So I might as well just go ahead and put gold matting. So I found some gold cardstock. Oh my gosh, I'm having a day. In my stash, and I can't give you the name of this cardstock because I've had this in my stash for years. In fact, I actually handmade my husband and my wedding invitations with that cardstock when there was a store here locally in Washington State. They're no longer around. Anyway, I thought I'm going to use this to frame the this piece here, these pieces together, and I thought they would be really pretty together. So it'll put a nice matte frame. I've got the cardstock here, trying to line this up as best I can. And I think that looks good. And then I'm going to just put this here. And when it went through that embossing, or when I ran it through my die cutting machine to put the piercing on it, it did curl. So if you get that in your card, just go ahead and fold it out so that it lays a little bit more flat. And then I'm going to do double whammy. I'm actually going to just put some dot liner on here. And this is my favorite dot liner. You can get refills for these, and I really, really love it. It's comfortable to hold, and I think that's one of the biggest things for me, is something that is really easy to hold. And in case you're wondering, I'm working on a silicone placemat. I have 4 of them that I used to use in the kitchen, but because they're not fabulous to use and fun to clean, I've switched all that, and I use them in my craft room. So when one gets kind of murky and dirty, I just wind up using the other one. And then I was going to share with you an update. So somebody was saying, hey, how does the, I had somebody comment in my video asking me how this glue, this Elmer's glue all, because I did a video where I shared my thoughts on this particular glue, and asking me how embellishments hold up. And they do. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to share with you that I used this glue to do to add some embellishments, some silver embellishments in the middle of the flowers. And this holds up really well. I wanted to use a bottle cap that was specifically sized for this product here. So I had a, let me just show you. I have a bottle of Folk Art acrylic, and I measured this cap here with the cap that was originally on my Elmer's Glue All. And I ordered these because they fit the Elmer's Glue All and they fit the Folk Art glue. So these are two of the same size. And they came with a bunch of tips here and points here. And they also come with a clear glue, like a liner. Now this one here, if you can see, has a little bit of a flat tip type needle point nose on it. But I really like it. It works well. And because I'm working on a silicone mat, I can put my glue down here without worrying about it being hard to clean, because this is silicone and nothing will stick to it. So I'm actually going to just put a small bead. Now you guys probably can't see it because it is so small and thin, and I don't want to put a bunch of glue on this and have it warp. But I am working with both my dot runner and the glue as well. And I really like this glue. I'm really enjoying using it, mainly because it's so inexpensive and it holds really well, as per their claims. So this here, I have a really, really small, small border around this in the gold, and I really love that. Look how pretty that is with that pierced die. So pretty. And I forgot to mention, along with these caps and these needle nose tips here, came with these silicone stoppers here. And all I do is get my glue to clear out, and then I can just put these on here and store it up there. And then I just turn it upside down and put it in a jar that's close to my desk, so that it's always there. And I'm not going to worry about that, because when this dries, I'll be able to just wipe it right up or just peel it off. Okay, now we're going to assemble this card. And if you remember correctly, I was telling you that if you put this on the diagonal, it becomes a diamond, right? And this color here, this 3x3 piece here, matches the base of my card, so it'll be easy to line up. So I wouldn't waste my time trying to put it on here and trying to get the metal. It's easier to put your glue right here on this diamond right here. So I'm going to flip it around just because I think it'll be easier for me to work with. And I'm actually going to just put some adhesive right here. And again, I'm not worried about the mat there because this is a silicone placemat, and wherever I get the glue on the placemat, it will totally come up. So not worried, but I do want to get some glue right here along the edge so it stays down really nice. And you can see my desk is totally fine. I'm going to make sure, oops, I just pulled the entire cap off. Yikes. Okay, so get my glue to come out here. And it's beating up. So I'm going to just put just a thin line right here and make sure that it stays down here. Okay. And now, because my card's upside down, I want my flowers to go this way. And you can see this lines up perfectly. Get it up to the edge here. And now your card is going to open and close like this. So cool, huh? Okay, and now let's finish the rest. I'm going to lay this over here like this because I have two pieces of this floral cardstock and my pattern paper, and this is 3 1/8 by 4, and this is going to go here. So I'm going to make this easy on myself and just use my tape runner just because it's handy. And I'm going to put couple pieces here and there and put it here. So you're going to want to be careful if you use pattern paper that has a direction for your pattern. So like if you have things going a certain way, you want to pay attention to how you are adhering them to your card base. Okay, so then the other piece goes here on the inside. So let's put that down. And it goes here. Let's see, I want it to go this way. Although this isn't really a directional type of cardstock or pattern paper, I think it looks good this way. Get that centered. I really should put that gold pattern paper on it, but I think what I'm going to do is just line the edges of it up on another piece, like maybe the portion where you write your sentiment. I'm going to put that there. That looks good. And then this one here, while there's nothing here to guide you, this is the piece that's also cut at 3 1/8 by 4. I'm going to just put it up against here so I have a little bit of a frame here, and that will help dictate where this piece here goes. I hope that makes sense. Put that there. Oh, and I said I wanted to put a piece of gold, right? So I'll be right back. I'm going to cut that frame to go around the sentiment portion of the white. I cheated. I just took a piece of gold cardstock and I put that 3 1/8 by 4 inch piece here. And now I'm just going to take a pencil and put a little tick mark here and a little tick mark here to tell me where I should cut it with my paper trimmer. So let me grab my paper trimmer. Sometimes you got to wing it as you go, right? I'm going to get my scoring blade out of the way. I'm just going to cut right along that line right there, all the way down. Get that out of the way. And now I have another pencil mark right here to tell me where to cut on this piece here. And trim and get this out. And now I have a beautiful framed piece where I can put a sentiment. Now at this point, you could stamp your sentiment on here. I'm going to leave mine blank so that I can write a personal message and do what I want there. So you'll see this is a little bit more of a border here, but I think it separates it really nicely and it will be beautiful. And then we're going to put this piece here. So I'm going to adhere this down here without a sentiment for right now, and I can always stamp one later. Okay, so there we go, and I'm going to align this just so it has a slim border right around that edge, and I'm going to adhere that down, and that looks good to me. And then this last piece here, I think I like those flowers going up. I'm going to align that right there. So this is our piece that is 2 by 4 inches. And then one small piece for good measure here. I'm going to center it, and that looks good. Okay, so now when you close this off, you see you don't see that gold border that I added here to the sentiment piece, but now I can just add an embellishment on here and we'll be good to go. Okay, I wanted to share another tip with you. This is an old Sizzix floral die that I have here, and what I'm doing is stacking them up. Each of them I'm using the 110-pound cardstock that I am using for my card base, and I'm going to actually color this floral piece in. But I wanted to give you a tip. You know when you're looking at something and you're like, okay, well, which part fits where? Once you find out where it fits, here's a tip for you. I want to stack 3 layers. I find what petals match up with each other, and I just put a slight pencil mark with an erasable pencil. And then once I have them glued and stacked up, the top one I can just erase with a mono eraser. And these are really nice because they don't mess up your paper. But it's going to be more sturdy once I have all of these 3 pieces glued together, but that will save you a headache. So when you put glue on the other 2 pieces, you'll know exactly where the third one goes as well too. Okay, so now that I have these 3 stacked together, there is that pencil mark on that one petal. All I do is just take my mono sand eraser and I'm erasing it off, good as new. And in my next step, I'm going to actually put all of these 3 floral pieces, and I'm going to color them using my new sticky grid mat. So here we go. So one of the things I'm pretty excited about is I was on Amazon and I was looking at sticky grid mats, and I already have one that is 8 by 8 from Waffle Flower, and I haven't used it yet because I have this weird thing where I don't want to get red ink on it and make it look kind of mucky. And I was trying to see if other companies had come out with a sticky grid mat, and indeed I did find one. Now this is not a company I'm familiar with, but they have 3 different sizes. So I ordered them because I wanted to test them first. But this one here, it measures 6 inches by 6 inches this way. And it comes with these cool grid mats that you can put behind that show measurements in portrait and landscape mode for an A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And so it has this one that I have on the back, and they did recommend that you cut away a little bit so the sticky portion will stay on your mat a little bit better, and then you can just peel this off, and it is indeed a photopolymer, pretty thick photopolymer, and so I'm excited to try this one out. I also wanted to point out that they came out, or they give you a couple of different mats to try. So they give you 2 of these, and they give you 2 of these, which are basically a way for you to kind of measure something if you want to create a wreath type pattern. So I thought that was pretty cool. And don't worry, I will link everything in the description box below so you can order it. And then here is the second one. Now this one is a 5x7, and I just opened it this morning, but I have not put the grid mats on it behind. But you can see this one here measures for an A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but it also measures for a 5x7 card, which is a 7. So I thought this was kind of cool, and I will demo this in an upcoming video. But again, like I said, if you want to order these, they're super inexpensive, and I won't put the price down from Amazon because they change from day to day, and the quantities I saw there were limited. So if you are interested in getting something that's a little bit more affordable, go check out the links. So I don't have a lot of these blending brushes here, but I wanted to share a tip with you that I found very helpful for myself, and maybe it would be helpful to you guys. I have these types of towels that are meant for, they're like, I forget what you call them, but they're meant for cars. So I picked up a huge roll and I cut them down in pieces. Now this piece here is pretty wet, and you can see I've cleaned a lot of my stamps with it, and I'm going to use this wet one to get rid of excess ink that is on my brush. So you can see like the tip of it is kind of much lighter than the base of it. I'm just going to wipe it clean like that. And then because I don't want to dip a wet brush in there, I'm going to just dry it off on this one, because this one is completely dry. And now I'm ready to ink with a same color family to test out which color ink I want. I tested out the color that I wanted on my die cut piece here, the scratch one, just to see if it would pair nicely with my florals here, and I think it'll be nice. It will definitely dry back. So this is pretty wet right now because I just sampled it. But let's go ahead and give this grid mat a try. I'm kind of excited to try this out. Okay, and here is the piece I'm going to keep so that I can put it back. Now, mine's not going to be sticking down to the surface here because this is a silicone placemat, and it won't stick to it, but this would definitely stick to my glass mat. But I'm going to be working on this because I want to be able to turn it around. And the reason I wanted to stack my die cuts first is because I want to possibly get the edges of this cardstock. So I'm just going to put them all down, and yep, they stick on there really nicely. And I'm going to just put them here, stick them all down. And then I'm going to come in with Coral Cabana from Captain Puller Ink. And I'm going to give these a nice color in the middle. And I'm not worried if this is uneven in the middle because I will be adding embellishments. And I'm going to brush to each petal. And going almost all the way to the edge. And then what I like about this is I can actually move this mat around. But then if I need it to stay stationary, just adhere it to my glass mat. So this is pretty cool. I'm loving this. And I could use a bigger brush, and I could add some more water to this ink pad because my ink pad is getting a little dry. Now, if you watched in one of my other videos, I shared a really cool tip in another video that shows how you can resaturate your ink pads using a special sprayer. So I'm going to link that up in the corner at the top there if you want to go check that out, or I'll also include it in the description box below. Okay, I'm not too worried about this being kind of splotchy because once this dries back, these inks will smooth out. Most dye inks do that. And I'm going to embellish the center, and I'll show you how I do that in a minute. But these are looking great. And I think what's cool about this way of doing it is because I have these stacked 3 at a time, it makes them a little bit more stable, and I'm not tweaking the petals so that I accidentally tear them, you know what I mean? So let's get these all inked up. And I think I'm good with that, except I think I need a little bit more ink here. And I think that looks good to me. So here's a close-up. So see, they look splotchy. When they are dried, they will totally dry back. And I am happy with that, and I'm going to call that good. So clearly I need a larger envelope for this card because of the amount of dimension, but I think this turned out really pretty. So I added all my flowers, I die cut some leaves to go behind them, and right in the center of those florals I put some little embellishments, some rhinestones. And I really love the result of this card. I also took a Jelly Roll Sakura glitter pen and created some lines on the floral petals just to kind of dress it up a little bit more. I was going to use some Wink of Stella, but I thought the gel glitter pen would be better just because when you use dye ink and you use Wink of Stella, it does tend to smear the ink, the dye ink, it spreads it around. So this Jelly Roll pen worked out really well. Now off camera I made a couple of more cards, so stick around and I'll show those to you too. I had some embellishments that I'd already made and I saved them for when I had the urge to make a card, and here is one. So I had this butterfly embellishment already made, and I used the stained glass window effect. I added some of that Sakura glitter pen, same measurements for all of the card panels and the card front, and then I just added my made by sticker on the very back. And I love how simple and beautiful this one turned out as well too. A lot less effort, simply because I already had that die cut embellishment already ready to go. And then this is another one I also made off screen using some Spellbinders card die cuts as well too. And again, same embellishments, but this card you can see would be really easy to mass produce, because if you do the 2-for-1 method like I showed you in the beginning, these cards should come together very quickly. Now don't forget to grab the instruction download that is in the description box for you to make it easier for you. And here is a final look of all the cards that I made today, and I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration and lets you tackle a fun fold card that's really, really simple, especially since you have the instructions in the description and the download for you. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching, and ciao for now.